3, 2, 1. We are live.
Welcome to the iOS Lead Essentials podcast. Here we discuss the strategies in your journey to become a black belt iOS developer. That is, achieve technical excellence and be part of the highest paid iOS developers in the world. I'm Mike.
And I'm Caio. And the topic today is 2 shortcuts to becoming a black belt senior iOS developer. So, are there shortcuts to becoming a black belt? Apart from, of course, discipline, consistency, and hard work. Because discipline, consistency, and hard work will get you your black belt.
Mm-hmm.
But can you accelerate this process? Can you accelerate the process of becoming one of the best in the industry, and one of the highest paid iOS developers in the world? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, exactly.
Absolutely. And people are saying here in the chat, Siri shortcuts? No, not Siri shortcuts. Real shortcuts to becoming a black belt senior iOS developer. Because there are efficient ways and inefficient ways of progressing your career, of becoming a black belt.
Exactly. And efficient ways can get you there much faster.
That's why they're efficient.
Yeah.
Because, remember, years alone won't make you a black belt. There are iOS developers with over 10 years experience. They are not black belts. Years alone doesn't count. In many ways, there are developers with 10 years experience that in many ways they are still white belts.
Yeah.
Many of the skills they have are still white belt skills. But the shortcuts are not what most think.
Right.
They're not Siri shortcuts.
Yes, exactly. Or equivalents, like templates, like Viper, for example. You can, or I don't know, code you can copy and paste, or a marketing trick, that can make you popular instantly and increase your income.
Nope. It's not a website. It's not a freelancing website. They're going to register and magically start getting better offers. It doesn't exist. Tricks and hacks, they may work once.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And if you're very, 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 very lucky,
Yes,
you're
exactly.
very lucky, and you are the first one to get into, I don't know, Fiverr, and you got a bunch of work.
Yes.
But now it's populated full of people. All you can get at Fiverr.com is $5. Literally. Yep. People go there to spend $5. So hacks and tricks, they might work once, but you cannot replicate it. You cannot replicate tricks. You cannot direct your career expecting to be lucky.
Right.
Your career shouldn't be like playing the lottery. Because the odds are against you.
Yes.
What are the odds of winning the lottery? 1 in a million?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Chances are you're not going to win the lottery. So don't direct your career like a lottery. Take control of your career. So the shortcuts, they're not templates, they're not hacks, they're not tricks. They will make you a black belt. Because a black belt follows principles.
Mm-hmm.
They can replicate. And every time they replicate it, they can get better and better. And they can get better and better opportunities, offers, and so on.
Exactly. The more they apply these principles, the better they become. The better they become, the more they can earn.
Absolutely.
So,
If you increase your value, you can increase your income. So black belt developers, they develop skills that less than 5% of developers have. They are unique and valuable skills in the industry. Skills that every company needs and wants in the
mhm,
world. Every company needs those skills. And that's why the black belt iOS developers are the highest paid in the world. Because they have those unique, valuable skills that less than 5% of developers develop, build, practice. And if you can accelerate your journey, you can start applying those principles and start getting better and better offers. The more you
yeah,
apply them, the better you become.
exactly. Absolutely.
It's not just
Yeah,
about the
and
money as well.
yeah, exactly. I was about to say that it's about work fulfillment as well. It's nice to be proud of what you're making and delivering. So absolutely.
Absolutely. Being proud of the work you deliver, the
Hmm.
iOS applications you deliver, the apps you deliver to your customers. And of course, deliver better results and you can earn more, which is one of the benefits of being a black belt as well. And the faster you start applying those principles, the faster you start getting those rewards. So, what is the shortcut to a black belt? Or actually, first, what is the slow way? What is stopping a lot of developers from becoming black belts? What is the slow way of directing your career? What do you think, Mike?
Well, I think it's trying to figure out everything on your own. It's trying to learn, um, only from your mistakes. Not looking around and learning from others.
The classic reinventing the wheel.
Exactly.
That's the slow way, reinventing the wheel approach. Trying to reverse engineer solutions.
Hmm.
You
Yes.
find some code on the internet and you try to reverse engineer how they found the solution, how they came up with that solution. But if you don't know the principles behind them, there'll be a bunch of details that will pass by. So, if you only learn from your mistakes or copy and paste in code you don't understand, or by dealing with bugs you cannot debug or find,
Hmm.
or creating messy code bases that you need to restart. You need to restart every time, every couple of months, you need to start a new code base from scratch.
Yes.
That's the slow way. That's the slow way that stops you from progressing. It take you forever to learn better ways by only learning from your own mistakes. If you
If,
ever learn a better way.
yes, if ever, exactly. Yeah.
There are already principles to help you avoid mistakes.
Hmm.
Never make them. But if you don't learn those principles, you have to fail and fail and fail until you rediscover those same principles that you can learn right now. And that's the reinventing the wheel part. That's the slow way. Trying to reverse engineer what black belt developers do.
Yeah. Yeah, and it doesn't work. It's like yeah, it's not gonna work.
For
I mean,
example, let's give an example to make it more clear. Let's say you want to bake a cake,
okay.
but you're trying to reverse engineer the recipe. Instead of looking for the recipe, you are looking at the cake and you turn it upside down. We look at it from different angles and try to figure out how did they make this cake? You know, maybe they use 2 cups of flour. I don't know. 1 cup of sugar, 2 eggs.
Right.
And you can try to bake this cake. and it's not going to work. And then you try to add an extra cup of flour, another egg, less sugar, and you keep trying it over and over again. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Because trying to reverse engineer just by looking at it, you might miss some important ingredients, like baking powder to make it grow,
Yes.
You may never figure it out that you need to add baking powder. So don't try to invent the wheel, or don't try to reverse engineer code bases you've seen. Because if you don't understand the principles, you will miss key ingredients that make the code base clean, flexible, maintainable, testable, and so on.
Yes.
Make sense?
That's it.
All right. So there are shortcuts. I'm going to give you today two main shortcuts to a black belt. The first one, the main shortcut, is to learn and follow principles that other black belts teach. Learn from black belts, get the recipe from them. All the ingredients you need in the right order and amount with the right instructions. And you need to follow them, even when it's counterintuitive.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Learn from the mistakes of others so you don't need to make the same mistake. For example, how do you become a black belt in judo? Learning from black belts.
Yep.
Now, it's the same principle. If you want to become a black belt iOS developer, a software developer, a professional, you're going to learn from other black belts. That's the fast way.
Exactly. Yeah, so you need to learn from other black belts. There's no other way. Stand on the shoulders of giants, as they say.
Absolutely. Otherwise, you need to reinvent judo on your own. And that's what many developers try to do. They try to reinvent the wheel, trying to reverse engineer what they see on Medium, on Stack Overflow, and so on, copy and paste solutions.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Make sense?
Yes, exactly.
Look at that. Gordon started learning jiu-jitsu 5 years ago, and he thought he'll never be as good as the graded students. It seemed impossible for so long. But now, he's teaching. He's helping teach the new students. Look at that. Fantastic. Thanks for sharing, Gordon. As simple as that. You need to learn from more experienced people to avoid their mistakes, Stand on the shoulder of giants. Because you know what? Like every black belt was once a white belt. So they know the pain. They know the journey. They know the path.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to follow it. They already know what works, what doesn't work. So you can learn from their success and from their mistakes.
Yep.
So you don't need to make the same mistakes. And for me, that's the best and fastest shortcut. Instead of trying to reinvent and reverse engineer everything you see on the internet, is to learn from experienced black belts. And do you know that there are black belt developers with over 15, 20, 40 years of experience? They wrote down everything they learned. And you can study their work. And you can save 5, 10, 20 years of trial and error. And can you believe that people don't study their lessons?
Yep. It's amazing, unbelievable.
The
Exactly.
knowledge is out there, but you need to do your part.
Absolutely.
For example, we have practices like use case analysis, domain modeling, domain driven design, test driven development, pair programming, mob programming, object oriented programming, functional programming. All those practices out there to help you build better software. You just need to learn it.
That's it.
Or design principles. You can learn from people that did it for many, many years. And they come up with principles that make good code bases.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but they
The
are
ones you can
essential.
profit from. Essential principles that if you follow now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, they are immutable principles of developing good software, regardless of language, regardless of platform. And they wrote down. And this can accelerate your career so much. You can save literally 5, 10, 15, 20 years of trial and error by studying the principles that make good software.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like these are the principles that they will help you work also in legacy projects, not just work on legacy projects and like survive, but thrive. It's like turn them around, make them successful projects. And if most probably don't use these principles, you're going to end up with legacy projects. It's like the opposite effect is going to happen.
Absolutely. People saying lots of principles. Whoa. But most of them, they share some values, some principles. You apply them in unison.
Exactly.
When you learn one, it's much easier to learn the other. So, this knowledge is out there. They'll give you the ability to transform even legacy projects into successful projects. So you gotta study their lessons. And some do, some don't, some will, some won't. Simple as that. There's no big secret. The ones that do become black belts. And of course, they can be part of the highest paid developers in the world because they can deliver much more value in the workplace. Much more. So you gotta do it. And the second shortcut is to be part of a community. A community of iOS developers who want to be black belts as well, who share the same values.
Yes, that's the important, that they share the same values and they have the same goals, right? Because ultimately, this is what's going to keep you on the right path. This is what's going to inspire you. It's going to keep you motivated and accelerate your process, like learning with others that they want to achieve exactly the same thing as you.
Absolutely. And this answers a question we just got here. Even if we do solo study, if we study these principles, it will help us become black belts. Sure. But if you want to accelerate, if you want a shortcut, you're going to be part of a community that will keep you motivated, inspired, on the right path. For example, in martial arts, do you train alone? Yes, there are parts where you'll be training alone. You're going to be punching the in the air, like shadow punching.
Right.
Or punching a bag. That's it. You'll be training, drilling on your own. It's part of the training as well, studying on your own. Solo study is one of the ways you're going to do it. But you also train with people at your own level. You'll be challenging each other, pushing each other to become better. You're also going to train with people below your level, like Gordon just said. You're going to be training and passing your knowledge to them. And most importantly, with people above your level that can teach you, that can correct your mistakes and help you improve much faster. They're going to push you to become better.
Absolutely.
And you won't become a black belt practicing alone only. There are solo studies you're going to have on your own. But no one becomes a black belt studying alone. It's impossible in any art or form.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, ultimately, you need other people there, first of all, to teach, right? Like, that's also part of it. And like review their code, of course. So yeah, alone is not gonna cut it.
That's it. That's why community is so important in
Exactly.
everything. Like CrossFit. If you want to do CrossFit, you're going to be around people doing CrossFit. People that are better than you, people that are less proficient than you at the same level. You're going to have someone that's going to give you explicit like directions, what you need to practice next, and so on.
Yeah, and
The same in programming. If you're part of a community that share the same values, the same goals, you can get there much faster. It's much easier, much more motivating, much better.
exactly, go through it together. You mentioned CrossFit, like this is one of the most important aspects of this, I don't know, sport, how to call it, but it's like people are in pain together. This forms a bond. This makes everything so much better. So definitely, yeah.
Absolutely. It motivates you to keep doing what is necessary to get the black belt.
Yes,
To stay on the
I mean,
journey,
ultimately, like I went through that. For instance, this is why I moved to the UK. Because I could not find a community of people that they wanted exactly the same thing. Like reach this black belt level on iOS development. So back then, in Greece, yeah, it was impossible for me. But yeah, and I found in the UK. Was very happy.
And you could find some online communities, but as you said in other podcasts, it was like Ruby, other
Yes,
other languages, other platforms, right? And you wanted
absolutely.
iOS development.
Yes,
So you went after finding a community, being part of, being close to people that were better than you, that could teach
exactly.
you, right?
Yes, that was the goal. Absolutely.
And that's the shortcut. That's the shortcut. Being part of a community and learning from more experienced people, especially black belts. So you stay on the right path. But I know that many don't have any black belt to teach them at work, for example.
Mm-hmm.
If you're lucky, you will work with black belts that can teach you. They'll give you the training and the space to practice and apply what you learn. Maybe you even work alone. A lot of people contact us. They are working alone. They work alone. They are mid developers, maybe junior developers. There was a point in my career, I was a junior developer. I was working alone, getting a lot of responsibility to build systems that I couldn't do it proficiently. It would be messy.
Yes.
But I had no one at the time to teach me. So I understand it. Understand if you're in this situation. Maybe you also cannot find a community outside work where you live, like Mike couldn't before. If that's your case, you need to find those black belts somewhere else. You need to find those communities. because they are going to accelerate and motivate you to stay on the path. Because there will be a lot of challenges and obstacles in your path to the black belt. If you're not part of a community and if you don't have those black belts supporting you, it's going to be impossible.
Absolutely.
And you can find nowadays these communities online.
Yeah.
For example, we have created such a community.
Mhm.
Like we couldn't find it, right? Mike had to travel outside Greece to do it. And that was one of the motivations for us to create our own community online. So we
Absolutely.
connect with people everywhere in the world, everywhere. And we created this community. If you're serious about becoming a black belt, check out the iOS Lead Essentials mentorship program. We have, what, almost 500 developers in there practicing.
Yeah. Exactly. Like yesterday, we had a live mentoring session with one of our students, Koi.
Koi.
Yeah.
He's a purple belt now, Koi.
Yeah. Exactly. And for the fans of the channel, maybe you remember Koi from a year ago, where he was a white belt back then.
Yeah, he started as a white belt. But he was already a developer beforehand, right? He already
Yeah.
had experience.
Mm-hmm.
So for him to become a purple belt took him almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're part of this community, you're going to do what it takes. You're going to do what it takes. That's the shortcut. He's on his way to a brown belt.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he's going to get there soon because he's very motivated.
Yeah.
Like many other students, he's repeating lessons over and over and over again to learn the principles and practices, to become proficient at the principles and practices.
Exactly.
Every iteration.
Yes.
If you've seen the podcast yesterday, the 3 ways of learning: conceptually, by example, and by practice. You need all of them. You need to learn the concepts, then you need to see examples, and you need to practice what you learn. And you need to repeat this cycle over and over and over and over again. With every iteration, you become better. So every time Koi does it, he becomes better and he gets closer to the black belt. Make sense?
That's it.
Go back to the principles, concepts, watch more examples, new examples, apply and repeat. Go back to the concepts, see more examples, and apply.
Exactly.
That's the way you're going to learn. Make sense?
Yeah. I mean, get the feedback, and then apply. Know what you don't know, and then learn it, apply. I think it's a fantastic way of seeing it,
So you got to find those people that can teach you and a community that will support you wherever you live. If you can find it at work, fantastic. Learn from them as much as possible. Absorb everything you know, like Mike did when he went to the UK.
Exactly.
Just absorb everything they know. So there's an exercise today, which is to look at this short list of principles and practices and identify the ones you don't know or you haven't mastered yet. Take a screenshot. The practices and the principles. Give yourself a note from 0 to 10 in each one of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Small grade.
From 0 to 10. And this will be your initial guide to what you need to learn.
Exactly. I mean,
if you give 0 at something, it means you've never seen it before. You never applied it,
There's no shame on that, by the way.
No shame. Absolutely not.
You need to do that. You need to be honest with yourself in case that's the case. And say, okay, well, I need to find out what that is. You know,
That would be your guide.
exactly.
The more you learn those concepts, you find good examples, and you apply what you learn, and you keep repeating this, the closer you get to the black belt and to becoming one of the highest paid developers in the world. So again, take a screenshot and rate yourself from 0 to 10 in each one. And there's more, but here is just your initial guide.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
That's it.
So that's your exercise, and you gotta do it if you want to be a black belt iOS developer and start your journey. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next time.
Bye, y'all.
See ya.